In Seoul's underground
It's
world,
positive.
one name commanded
Positive? Are you
absolute
sure?
silence.
I
Kang
took 3.
Ji-hoon.
They're all
When he
positive.
entered a room,
This changes
conversation
everything.
stopped.
I know,
Eyes
but
dropped.
we'll face
Even
it
the most
together.
powerful men lowered their voices in his presence. Ji-hoon had built his empire through calculated ruthlessness, never showing weakness, never allowing emotion to cloud judgment. At 35, he controlled half the city's shadow operations, protection networks, underground gambling, information trading. His word was law. His anger was death. People feared him not because of violence, though he was capable of it, but because of his cold precision. He never acted on impulse, never made mistakes, never showed his humanity. His penthouse overlooked Seoul's glittering skyline, a fortress of wealth and isolation. Expensive art on the walls, marble floors that echoed with emptiness. Everything perfect, everything
The
controlled,
opportunities before us
everything
are
lonely.
immense, but so are the
Ji-hoon
challenges.
sat by
We
floor-to-ceiling
must act
windows,
decisively to
whiskey
stay
in
ahead in this
hand,
competitive
staring
landscape.
at the city he
Our strategy
ruled,
is
but
clear.
never truly
Now's the
touched.
time to
His
execute.
phone buzzed constantly. Reports, problems, opportunities. He answered each with mechanical efficiency. This was his life. Power without connection, control without warmth, success without joy. At 2 a.m., restless and unable to sleep despite exhaustion, Ji-hoon made an unusual decision. He walked out of his building alone, dismissing his bodyguards with a sharp gesture. For once, he wanted to be anonymous. Just another face in Seoul's endless night. Amara Wright wiped down tables at the 24-hour cafe, her second job of the day. Her feet ached, her back screamed. But rent was due, and her sister back in Atlanta needed money for college. So Amara worked. Morning shift at a hotel cleaning rooms. Evening shift here, serving coffee to insomniacs and night workers. She'd come to Seoul 2 years ago on a teaching contract that fell through within months. Too proud to return home defeated, too stubborn to give up, she'd stayed. Found work, built a life from scraps. It wasn't the life she'd imagined, but it was hers. The cafe was nearly empty at this hour. Just her, the sleepy owner in the back, and occasional customers seeking refuge from the Seoul night. Amara had learned to be invisible here, to serve efficiently, smile professionally, and never engage beyond necessary politeness. She'd learned that as a black woman in Korea, visibility often meant discomfort, questions she didn't want to answer, attention she didn't need. So she worked quietly, saved aggressively, and dreamed of the day she'd have enough to start something of her own. The door chimed. Amara looked up, ready with her practiced smile. A man entered, Korean, expensively dressed despite the late hour, moving with quiet authority. He sat at the corner table, away from windows, back to the wall. She approached with her order pad. "What can I get you?" He looked at her then. Really looked. Not with the curiosity she usually faced, but with something else. Exhaustion. Recognition of a fellow tired soul. Coffee. Black. Strong. Coming right up. Ji-hoon hadn't expected to find another person who looked as tired as he felt. But this woman, her name tag said Amara, had shadows under her eyes that matched his own. She brought his coffee without fuss. No lingering, no questions. Just service and a small, genuine smile before returning to her cleaning. He appreciated that. The anonymity, the normalcy. For 30 minutes he sat alone, drinking bitter coffee, watching Seoul through the cafe window. No decisions to make, no power to wield, just existing. More coffee? Amara's voice broke his thoughts. He nodded. She poured, and he noticed her hands, rough from work, a small scar on her wrist. Working hands, honest hands. "You work hard," he said. It wasn't a question. She paused, surprised he'd spoken. "Bills don't pay themselves." "No, they don't." Something in his tone made her look at him more carefully. "You too, huh? The working hard thing. Different kind of work, but yes." They stood in a strange moment of mutual understanding. Two tired people at 2 a.m. in a nearly empty cafe. "What brings you out this late?" Amara asked, then immediately regretted the personal question. "Sorry, that's insomnia, restlessness, the feeling that if I stayed in my empty apartment one more minute, I'd lose my mind." The honesty surprised her, and him. He never spoke like this, never admitted vulnerability. "I know that feeling," Amara said quietly. "The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix." Exactly. For the first time in years, Ji-hoon felt seen, not as the boss, not as the feared leader, just as a human being carrying too much weight. "I'm Amara." Ji-hoon, they shook hands. A simple gesture. But it felt like more. Like recognition. Like two isolated souls acknowledging each other across the distance of their separate struggles. Over the next hour, they talked. Not about anything important, just small things. Amara mentioned her sister's college dreams. Ji-hoon talked vaguely about business pressures without revealing what his business actually was. She told him about the strange comfort of Seoul nights when the city slowed down. He admitted he'd never noticed, always too consumed by work to simply observe. "You're from America," he noted. "Atlanta. You? Born here. Never left. Sometimes I wonder what that says about me. That you're rooted. That's not a bad thing. Sometimes roots feel like chains." Amara understood that more than he knew. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're the only thing keeping you standing. Hard to tell the difference. Ji-hoon found himself relaxing. The careful walls he maintained constantly were lowering. This stranger had no expectations of him, no knowledge of his reputation, no reason to fear or manipulate or calculate. She was just real. "Can I ask you something personal?" Ji-hoon said. "You can ask. I might not answer." "Do you regret it? Coming here, starting over, the struggle?" Amara considered the question seriously. "Some days yes, some days no. Today?" She looked around the empty cafe, at her tired reflection in the window. "Ask me tomorrow." He smiled. Actually smiled. "Fair answer. What about you? Do you regret your choices? The life you built?" "Every single day, and not at all. Both at the same time." "That's honest. You bring it out in me. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't know who you are, what you do, what you're supposed to be. I just see a tired man drinking coffee at 2 a.m. Maybe that's exactly why." The conversation shifted then, became more personal. They talked about loneliness, about carrying burdens alone, about the cost of ambition, about missing connections they'd sacrificed for survival. And somewhere in that honesty, something sparked. Not just attraction, though that was there, but recognition. Two people who'd built walls discovering someone who understood why those walls existed. "I should let you close up," Ji-hoon said, noticing the time. 4 a.m. They'd been talking for 2 hours. "Probably, owner will wonder why I'm still here." "Do you work tomorrow?" "Today, I mean." "Always. Morning shift at 7. That's 3 hours from now. I'll survive. Done it before." Ji-hoon stood, leaving money on the table, far more than the coffee cost. "For your time, and the conversation." "That's too much. Please. Take it. You gave me something tonight I didn't know I needed." "What's that?" "Proof that I'm still human. That I can still have a normal conversation. That somewhere under everything I've become, I'm still just me." Amara pocketed the money. Not out of greed, but because she needed it. And because refusing felt like rejecting the honesty he'd offered. "Thank you for the tip and for being real. Can I see you again?" The question surprised them both. "I don't know if that's a good idea," Amara said carefully. "Probably not, but I'm asking anyway." "Why?" "Because for 2 hours I forgot to be the person everyone expects me to be. I just got to be Ji-hoon. That's rare. That's valuable. That's worth pursuing." Amara felt the pull too. The connection, the understanding, the dangerous possibility that this stranger might actually see her. "One more time, that's all I can promise." One more time is enough. He left his number on a napkin, walked out into Seoul's pre-dawn darkness, and Amara stood in the empty cafe, holding a napkin with a stranger's number, wondering what she'd just started. Something in her heart whispered it was already too late to walk away. But her head screamed that getting involved with this mysterious, intense man would only complicate her already difficult life. She didn't know yet which voice to believe. They met 3 more times over 2 weeks. Always late at night, always at the cafe. Each meeting, the walls came down further. Ji-hoon told her about his childhood, about inheriting his father's organization at 22, about the violence he'd witnessed, the choices he'd made, the person he'd become. He never explicitly said Mafia boss, but Amara was smart enough to read between the lines. She should have run, should have cut contact. Instead, she told him her own truths, about leaving Atlanta to escape an abusive relationship, about rebuilding from nothing, about the shame of struggling when she'd promised her family she'd succeed. "You're braver than you think," Ji-hoon said one night. "So are you." "I'm not brave, I'm surviving." "That's the same thing." Their 4th meeting happened on a rainy night. The cafe was completely empty. Just them. Amara had already locked the door, owner gone home early. "I shouldn't be here," Ji-hoon said, but he made no move to leave. "I shouldn't have let you in after closing." but she made no move to ask him to go. They stood in the dim cafe, rain drumming on windows, the weight of unspoken feelings heavy between them. "This is complicated," Amara whispered. "I know. You're dangerous, your world is dangerous. I know. I can't afford complications, can't afford to get hurt. I know. Then why are we doing this?" "Because some things are worth the risk." He stepped closer. She didn't step back. "Tell me to leave," Jihoon said. "Tell me this is a bad idea and I'll go. I'll never bother you again." "It is a bad idea. I know. We barely know each other. I know. This will only end badly. Probably." "Then why can't I tell you to leave?" "Because you feel it too. This connection, this understanding, this rare impossible thing." Amara looked up at him, saw the vulnerability in his eyes, the loneliness that matched her own, the dangerous possibility of something real. "One night," she whispered, "just tonight, then we walk away." "Just tonight," he agreed, and they both knew it was a lie. Morning light filtered through unfamiliar windows. Amara woke in Jihoon's arms, their clothes scattered across his penthouse floor. Reality crashed in immediately. What had she done? Jihoon stirred beside her, opened his eyes. For a moment they just looked at each other. No regret in his gaze, just quiet acceptance. "I need to go," Amara said, already reaching for her clothes. "I know." I know." She dressed quickly, aware of his eyes following her movements. When she was ready, she turned to face him. "This can't happen again." "I know. I mean it, Jihoon. Your world, my world, they don't fit. This was a moment. That's all it can be." "I understand." "Do you?" "Because I need you to understand that I can't be part of whatever your life is. I can't be a secret, can't be the thing you hide. I've been hidden before. I won't do it again. I would never hide you. You'd have to. Your organization, your reputation, your world, they wouldn't accept me. We both know that." Jihoon stood, still unclothed, completely unself-conscious. "You're right about all of it. This is impossible, complicated, probably destructive, but Amara last night was beautiful, and it's over. Has to be." He nodded slowly. "If that's what you want, it's what has to be. Then this is goodbye." "Yes." He walked her to the door. They stood in the threshold, neither quite ready to let go. "Thank you," Jihoon said quietly. "For what?" "For seeing me, for those nights in the cafe, for this, for reminding me I'm still capable of feeling. Take care of yourself, Jihoon." "You too, Amara." She left, took the elevator down, walked out into Seoul's morning chaos, told herself she'd done the right thing, told herself this was for the best, told herself she'd forget him, all lies. And 3 weeks later, when she missed her period and her hands shook while reading the positive pregnancy test, those lies shattered completely. She was carrying the child of a man she barely knew. A dangerous man. A man she'd sworn never to see again. And her entire world changed. Amara stared at the pregnancy test until the lines blurred, then took another. Same result. Then a third. Same. She sat on her tiny bathroom floor, back against the wall, hands shaking. Pregnant. With Jihoon's child. A man she'd known for 2 weeks. A man she'd spent one night with. A man whose world was violence and power and danger. "No, no, no," she whispered to the empty apartment. Options spiraled through her mind. She could terminate. Could handle this quietly and never tell him. Could make it like that night never happened. But even as she thought it, her hand moved to her stomach. Protective, instinctive, she couldn't. She could tell him. Demand support. But what would that mean? Becoming tied to his dangerous world? Putting herself and a child at risk? Making their brief connection into something permanent and complicated? Or she could disappear. Leave Seoul. Go home to Atlanta. Raise the child alone and never let Jihoon know he'd become a father. The thought hurt more than it should, because despite everything, despite the impossibility, she'd felt something real with him. Something she hadn't felt in years. Connection. Understanding. The possibility of being truly seen. Stupid, she told herself. You were so stupid. But the baby growing inside her wasn't stupid. Wasn't a mistake. Just complicated. Over the next week, Amara wrestled with the decision. Talked to no one. Carried the secret like a stone, made appointments she didn't keep, wrote texts to Jihoon's number that she deleted unsent. And slowly, quietly, she made her choice. She would keep the baby, but she wouldn't tell Jihoon. He deserved to know, some part of her argued. But the louder part said, he also deserves to be free of this. Free to live his dangerous life without complications. Free from a child he never planned for with a woman he barely knew. She'd handle this alone, like she'd handled everything else. She was strong enough. She had to be. 3 months passed. Amara quit the cafe job, too exhausted, morning sickness brutal. Focused on the hotel work and picked up online translation jobs she could do from home. Her savings dwindled. Her sister's college fund stopped growing, but her baby, was healthy. That's what mattered. She moved to a cheaper apartment in a different neighborhood, told herself it was just about money, not about avoiding any chance of running into Ji-hoon. Another lie. Some nights she'd pull up his number on her phone, stare at it, wonder what he'd say if she told him, if he'd be angry, if he'd demand involvement, if he'd reject the child, reject her. Better not to know, better to keep this secret safe. She started showing at 4 months, bought loose clothes, avoided questions, built walls around this new reality. Her sister called from Atlanta. "You sound different. What's going on?" "Nothing, just tired. Work is hard." "You always say that, but this is different." "Amara, what aren't you telling me?" "I'm fine, really. How's school?" Deflection, distance, protection. The lies were getting easier. That scared her. At 5 months, Amara felt the first kick. Sat alone in her apartment, hand on her growing belly, tears streaming down her face. This was real. So impossibly real. "I'll protect you," she whispered to the life inside her. "I promise. You'll be safe, loved. Everything will be okay." More lies, or maybe promises she desperately needed to believe. She thought about Ji-hoon constantly, wondered if he ever thought about her, if their night together meant anything beyond a moment. If he'd moved on completely. Probably. Men like him didn't dwell, didn't wonder, didn't carry emotional weight like she did. At 6 months, Amara knew she needed a plan. A real plan. For after the birth. For raising a child alone in a foreign country. For the future. But before she could form that plan, the universe made its own decision about how her story would unfold. The hotel where Amara worked was hosting a private event. Corporate function in the penthouse suite. Exactly the kind of booking that meant big tips if the cleaning crew did well. Amara was assigned to the team. 6 months pregnant but not obviously so under loose clothes. She needed the extra money. Needed to prove she could still work. The event was invitation only. Security everywhere. Amara and her team cleaned and prepared in the afternoon, then were told to return after for post-event cleanup. She almost called in sick. Something felt wrong. Some instinct screamed at her to stay away, but money spoke louder than instinct. She returned at 11 p.m. The event was wrapping up, well-dressed guests leaving. Security nodded her through to the service entrance. Amara entered the suite with her cleaning cart, head down, focused on work. "Everyone out except essential security," a voice commanded in Korean. Amara's blood went cold. She knew that voice. Looked up slowly. Ji-hoon stood across the room, surrounded by men in expensive suits. His eyes scanned the cleaning staff dismissively, then stopped, locked on her face. Recognition. Shock. Calculation. "You," he said in English. Everyone turned to look. Amara felt trapped, exposed, terrified. "I'm just here to clean," she managed. "Everyone else, leave us," Ji-hoon ordered. His men hesitated. Now, the room cleared, just them. And the impossible tension of 6 months of separation. "Amara, Mr. Kang." The formality felt wrong, hurt. "You disappeared." "I moved on. Like we agreed." "Did you?" His eyes scanned her face, reading everything she tried to hide. "You look different. It's been 6 months. People change. Not like this. You look... Are you eating enough? You're too thin." Ironic concern from a man who didn't know she was carrying his child. Amara felt hysterical laughter bubbling up, swallowed it down. "I'm fine. I should go. This is inappropriate." "Wait." He stepped closer. She stepped back, the cleaning cart between them like a shield. "Please, Amara, just talk to me. I've thought about you, about that night, about whether I did something wrong, whether I hurt you." "You didn't. Then why did you vanish?" "Because it was the right thing to do." "For who?" "For both of us." Ji-hoon studied her. Amara could see him processing, analyzing, looking for hidden truths. It's what made him successful, what made him dangerous. He saw what others missed. "You're hiding something," he said finally. Not a question, a statement. "I'm not." "You are. I can see it, in your eyes, in the way you won't look at me directly, in the tension in your shoulders. What is it?" "Nothing that concerns you." "Everything about you concerns me." "It shouldn't. We had one night, Ji-hoon. That doesn't give you ownership of my secrets. I'm not claiming ownership, I'm claiming concern. Amara, if you're in trouble, I'm not. If you need help, I don't. If someone hurt you, no one did. Please, just let me go. Pretend you never saw me. Move on with your life. I can't. You have to. They stood in painful stalemate. Amara's hand unconsciously moved to her stomach, just for a second. Just a protective gesture. But Jihoon caught it. Saw everything in that single movement. His eyes went to her midsection, took in the loose clothes, the way she stood, the fullness in her face that hadn't been there before. No, he breathed. Jihoon. You're pregnant. Not a question, horror and certainty in equal measure. That's none of your business. It's mine, isn't it? The baby, it's mine. I'm not having this conversation. Amara, answer me, please. Is that my child? She could lie. Should lie. But looking at his face, the shock, the fear, the desperate need to know, she couldn't. Yes. The word fell like a bomb. Jihoon stumbled backward, sat heavily in a chair, stared at her with absolute incomprehension. 6 months, he said. You've been pregnant for 6 months and didn't tell me. I made a choice. A choice to hide my child from me? A choice to protect my child from your world. That's not your decision to make alone. It's entirely my decision, my body, my life, my future at risk. It's my child. It's a cluster of cells that will become a person who deserves safety and peace and a normal life. Not bodyguards and danger and being a weakness people can exploit. The truth hung between them. Raw, painful, undeniable. Before either could say more, the door burst open. One of Jihoon's men entered, face tense. Sir, we have a problem. Not now, Jihoon said without looking away from Amara. Sir, it's urgent. Park's people are asking questions about the woman. Someone saw you two talking. Jihoon's expression went cold. Calculating. Everyone out, now, full security sweep. No one talks about this. Understood? Yes, sir. After the man left, Jihoon turned back to Amara. You need to leave. Immediately. Not just this room. The city. Tonight. What? Why? Because my world just became aware of you. And if they know you're pregnant with my child, you become a target, leverage, a vulnerability people will exploit. I can take care of myself. Not against this, Amara, please. I'm begging you. Let me protect you. Let me get you somewhere safe. By doing what? Locking me in a gilded cage. By keeping you alive. The desperation in his voice shocked her. I've spent 6 months trying to forget you, trying to move on, failing every day, and now I find out you're carrying my child and people in my organization already know. Do you understand what that means? What they'll do? Then let me disappear. Again. I'll leave Seoul. You'll never have to. I'll never have to what? Ignore that I have a child? Pretend you don't exist? I can't do that. Won't do that. You don't have a choice. Neither do you. Not anymore. The moment someone in my world learned about this, your choice was taken away. A phone buzzed. Jihoon answered, his face darkening with each word. Understood. Handle it. He hung up, looked at Amara with something close to despair. It's worse than I thought. Word is already spreading. Rivals are asking questions. My own people are demanding answers. What does that mean? It means I have maybe 12 hours to figure out how to protect you before everyone in Seoul's underground knows that the great Kang Jihoon has a pregnant foreign lover who could be used against him. I'm not your lover. We had one night. To them, it doesn't matter. You're mine now. Whether we want that or not. Jihoon made calls. Rapid-fire Korean that Amara couldn't fully follow. But she caught the tone. Commands. Threats. Contingencies. When he finished, he looked at her with new resolution. Pack your things, you're coming with me tonight. I can't just... You can and you will. This isn't negotiable. Your apartment is already being watched. Park's people, maybe others. Staying there means death, or worse. What's worse than death? Being taken alive. Used as leverage, tortured for information, made an example. The clinical way he said it made the threat more real. Okay, Amara whispered. Okay. 3 hours later, she was in a luxury apartment across the city. Guards outside, cameras everywhere, safe, trapped. Jihoon stood by the window, phone constantly buzzing. How long do I have to stay here? Amara asked, until I neutralize the threat. Which could be. Days, weeks, I don't know. I have a job, a life. Your job is handled. I've paid your employer, told them you had a family emergency. Your apartment is being packed. Your things will be here tomorrow. You can't just take over my life. I can. I am, because the alternative is you dying, and I won't allow that. You don't get to decide. I do. The moment you decided to have my child, you gave me that right. The moment my enemies learned about you, I became responsible for your safety. So yes, Amara, I do get to decide. I decide you live. I decide you're protected. I decide our child has a chance to be born. Those decisions are mine now. The possessiveness in his voice should have terrified her. Instead, it triggered something else. Our child, she said quietly. You said our child. Ji-hoon's expression softened. Yes, our child. Whether you like it or not, whether I planned it or not, that's what this is. I know. Do you? Because I need you to understand, this changes everything. My enemies will see this baby as weakness, as leverage, as opportunity. I have to be stronger now, more ruthless, more willing to destroy anyone who threatens you. That's not the life I want for my child. It's the life that keeps your child alive. For 2 days, they lived in tense coexistence. Ji-hoon handled business from the apartment. Amara tried to process her new reality. On the 3rd day, Ji-hoon came to her room. His face was grave. We need to talk. About? Rumors. They're out of control. 3 different organizations are asking about you, about the baby, about my intentions. And I have to make a choice. Deny everything. Claim you're nobody. Protect my reputation and power at your expense. Or claim you publicly. Acknowledge the baby, face whatever consequences come. That would destroy you, everything you've built. Your reputation, your authority, probably. Then deny it. I'll disappear. You'll never have to. I can't. Why not? Because I've spent 3 days watching you, seeing you protect that baby even when you're terrified, seeing your strength, your resilience, your absolute refusal to be broken by circumstances you didn't choose. He stepped closer. You asked me once if I regretted my choices. I said yes and no. Now I know the answer. I regret every choice that led me away from being the kind of man who deserves you, who deserves to be a father, who deserves to be better. Ji-hoon, let me finish. I'm going to claim you. Publicly. To my organization, to my rivals, to everyone. I'm going to say you're mine, that the baby is mine, that anyone who threatens you threatens me directly. That's suicide. Maybe, but it's honest, and I'm tired of living without honesty. Your people will rebel, your allies will question you. Let them. I've spent 15 years building power through fear. Maybe it's time to build something through truth instead. You'll lose everything. Or I'll gain what actually matters. Amara felt tears streaming down her face. I don't understand you. I don't understand me either. But I know this. I've never felt more certain about a decision in my life. You and that baby, our baby, you're worth more than any empire I've built. You're worth the risk. You barely know me. I know enough, and I want to know more, if you'll let me. This is insane. Completely. Is that a yes? Amara's answer was interrupted by shouting outside. Guards mobilizing. Ji-hoon's expression went cold. Stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. What's happening? Someone's here. Someone who shouldn't be. He left. Amara heard raised voices, confrontation, then silence. 10 minutes later, Ji-hoon returned. His face was a mask of controlled fury. Park is downstairs, demanding to see me, demanding proof about the rumors. Let me leave through a back exit. I'll go. No, you stay. This ends now. Ji-hoon, please, trust me. For once, just trust me. He left again. Amara pressed her ear to the door, trying to hear. Muffled voices. Then Ji-hoon's voice, loud and clear. Yes, she's here. Yes, she's pregnant. Yes, the child is mine. Any other questions? Silence. Then another voice, Park's presumably. You've lost your mind. A foreign woman? A nobody? You're making yourself weak. I'm making myself honest. There's a difference. Your organization will fracture over this. People won't follow a man who puts a woman above power. Then they can leave. Anyone who questions my decision can walk away. No hard feelings, no repercussions. But if they stay, they accept this, all of it. You're choosing her over everything you've built? I'm choosing to be a man I can respect, for the first time in 15 years. If that costs me everything, so be it. Footsteps, door slamming. Then Ji-hoon's voice at Amara's door. It's me. You can open it. She did. He looked exhausted but somehow lighter. What happened? I told the truth. To everyone. Park, my lieutenants, the guards, all of it. And half my organization is in shock. Park left threatening war. 3 of my top people demanded I reconsider. The rest are waiting to see what happens next. I'm so sorry. Don't be. This is my choice, and I'm standing by it. even if it destroys you? Especially then, because being destroyed for something real is better than ruling over nothing that matters. The next morning, Ji-hoon called a full meeting. Every significant person in his organization, allies, associates, people who'd sworn loyalty. Amara watched from a separate room via video feed, saw the hard faces, the judgment, the calculation. Ji-hoon stood before them, completely calm. I've gathered you here to address rumors, to provide clarity, to offer a choice. He paused. Yes, there is a woman. Yes, she's pregnant with my child. Yes, I'm claiming both her and the child publicly. This is not negotiable. This is not open for debate. This is reality. Silence. Then a lieutenant spoke. Sir, with respect, this makes you vulnerable. Makes all of us vulnerable. If rivals know you have a weakness, then let them know. Let them understand that if they touch her or the child, I will rain destruction on them, unlike anything they've imagined. That's not weakness. That's absolute certainty about what I'm willing to do. But sir, let me make this clear. Anyone who stays in this organization accepts this reality, accepts that Amara and my child are under full protection, accepts that I will not tolerate any threat against them, accepts that I am choosing to be something more than just a boss. I'm choosing to be a father, a partner, a man who honors his responsibilities. Another voice, what if we can't accept that? Then leave, now, with my blessing, no retribution, no hard feelings, just leave, because I will not compromise on this, I will not hide them, I will not be ashamed. This is who I am now. The room held its breath. Then slowly people began standing. Some walked out. Maybe a third of those present left without another word. The remaining 2/3 stayed seated, watching, waiting. Thank you, Ji-hoon said to those who remained, for your loyalty, for your trust, for believing that we can be more than what this world expects. Now let me introduce you to the woman who's changing everything. He gestured. Amara stepped into the room. Every eye turned to her. She felt exposed, judged, terrified, but she stood tall, met their gazes, refused to shrink. This is Amara. She's stronger than any of you, braver than most of you, and she's under my complete protection. Anyone who forgets that answers to me directly. The silence was oppressive. Then one man stood, bowed. We understand, sir. She's family now. Others followed. Not all, but enough. Amara felt tears building. These dangerous people were accepting her child, accepting the impossible. After the meeting, Ji-hoon found her. You okay? I don't know what I am. That was terrifying? Revolutionary. Is that a good thing? I don't know yet. Ask me when this is over. When what's over? Whatever war we just started. The war came faster than expected. Park made his move 3 days later. Not with violence, with economics. He cut off supply lines, froze assets, turned former allies against Ji-hoon's organization. We're losing 30% of our income, a lieutenant reported. Connections are dropping off. People are scared to associate with us. Let them go, Ji-hoon said calmly. But sir, at this rate, we'll be smaller but more loyal, quality over quantity. I can work with that. The men are worried about stability, about the future. Tell them I'm handling it, and I am. Amara-san, working 18-hour days, saw the weight of protecting her and the baby while his empire fractured. This is my fault, she said one night. No. Yes, if I just stayed away. If you'd stayed away, I'd still be the person I was, empty, powerful, alone. Is that better? At least you'd be secure. I was never secure. I was just too controlled to notice the emptiness. You changed that, gave me a reason to be better. A reason to build something real instead of just maintaining something powerful. But you're losing everything. I'm losing things that never mattered, and gaining what does. How can you be so calm? Because I've made peace with that cost. Whatever happens, I chose this, chose you, chose our child, chose to be human. That's worth any price. Despite his words, the pressure mounted. Attacks on their remaining operations, defections, financial strain. Ji-hoon handled it all with quiet determination, never showing fear, never showing regret. But Amara saw what it cost him, saw the man she'd barely known becoming someone different, someone who fought not for power, but for family, someone who sacrificed not for advancement, but for love, and she fell for him. Really, truly fell for the man who'd given up an empire to protect her and their unborn child. I love you, she said one night. Simple, honest, terrifying. Ji-hoon looked at her with such raw emotion she could barely breathe. I love you too. Have since that first night in the cafe. Just took me this long to admit it. But love didn't stop the threats, didn't stop Park from escalating. 2 months before her due date, Amara was targeted directly. Not by Park's people, by someone from Ji-hoon's former inner circle. A man who'd walked away during the great meeting. A man who thought removing Amara would restore Ji-hoon to his former self. The assassination attempt happened at a doctor's appointment. Ji-hoon's security caught the threat before it materialized. But it was close, too close. We need to get more aggressive, Ji-hoon's new second-in-command said. Strike back, show strength. No, Ji-hoon said, that's what they expect, what they want. We do this differently. How? We go completely legitimate. I've been planning this. Time to execute. We cut all illegal operations, go fully legal, become untouchable through law instead of fear. Sir, that will take months, years. We don't have that time. Then we make time. We're already losing revenue, already bleeding support. Might as well rebuild into something sustainable, something I'm not ashamed of my child inheriting. This is suicide, or evolution. We'll find out which. Ji-hoon transformed his organization over the next 6 weeks. Legal businesses, proper contracts, political connections through legitimate means. It was messy, painful. Many more people left, but those who remained were building something new, something real. Park watched this transformation with growing frustration. He's making himself weaker, Park told his lieutenants. No, one said quietly. He's making himself untouchable. We can't attack legal businesses without exposing ourselves. Can't use violence against someone operating in daylight. He's checkmate us by changing the game entirely. Park refused to believe it. Made one final play. Went after Amara directly, not with violence, with information. Threatened to expose her past, her struggles, her vulnerabilities. To make her a public scandal that would destroy Ji-hoon's legitimate business prospects. Ji-hoon's response was unexpected. Go ahead. Release everything. I'll confirm it all. Add to it. Tell the whole truth. About us. About the baby. About why I changed. Let the public decide if honesty is worse than secrets. You're bluffing? Try me. Park released everything. Amara's immigration struggles, her multiple jobs, her pregnancy, Ji-hoon's past, their affair, all of it. Expected scandal. Public outrage. Ji-hoon's legitimate businesses collapsing. Instead, something else happened. The public loved it. Not because it was scandalous, but because it was human. A powerful man choosing love over power. A struggling woman being valued. A baby representing hope and change. Media ran stories. Reformed crime boss chooses family over empire. Love changes everything. The Kang Ji-hoon story. From fear to fatherhood and unlikely transformation. Public opinion shifted. What Park meant as destruction became Ji-hoon's greatest asset. Legitimacy through vulnerability. Power through honesty. He played you, Ji-hoon's advisor told Park. Turned your attack into his victory. You gave him exactly what he needed. Public sympathy and proof of change. Park's power began crumbling. Associates abandoned him. Allies questioned his judgment. Within a month he was isolated. Weak. Irrelevant. Ji-hoon could have destroyed him then. Could have taken revenge. Instead, he made a different choice. I'm offering you a way out, Ji-hoon told Park during a final meeting. Go legitimate like I did. I'll help. No tricks, no traps. Just a chance to rebuild into something better. Why would you help me? Because holding on to revenge is exhausting. Because I want my child growing up in a world with less violence. Because maybe, just maybe, change is contagious, and I'd rather spread that than hatred. Park stared at him. You've gone soft. No, I've gotten smart. There's a difference. I don't trust this. You don't have to. But the offer stands. Take it or don't. But if you refuse and keep coming after my family, I will end you. Not with violence, with law, public opinion, and every legitimate tool I've spent months cultivating. Your choice. Park left without answering. But 3 weeks later, he accepted. Began his own transformation. And Ji-hoon's world shifted again. From war to peace. From revenge to mercy, from power to purpose. Amara went into labor on a spring morning. Cherry blossoms falling like snow outside the hospital window.
We did it.
Ji-hoon held her
true
hand
result.
through every contraction,
Yes.
every
It
push,
feels
every
wonderful.
moment of pain
And
and
we did
fear
it
and hope.
together.
You're doing
Always.
amazing,
Here's
he
to us.
whispered. I hate you right now, she gasped. I know. Hate me later. Right now, breathe. 12 hours later, their daughter was born. Perfect, healthy, beautiful. Ji-hoon held her with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. She's perfect. She has your eyes, Amara said, exhausted but smiling. She has your strength, I can already tell. They named her Ji-young, wisdom and courage, the qualities they wanted her to embody. As Ji-hoon held his daughter, Amara watched the transformation complete itself. The feared mafia boss was gone. In his place was a father, a partner, a man who'd chosen love over power and found he'd gained everything that mattered. I need to tell you something, Ji-hoon said that night. Amara was recovering, Ji-young sleeping in her arms. What? I'm grateful, for that night in the cafe, for your courage, for choosing to have this baby despite every reason not to, for letting me be part of this. You changed my life, gave me a purpose bigger than power, gave me family. We changed each other. I was lost too, struggling, alone. You gave me stability, protection, love. We saved each other. Is that what we did? Yes, now we just have to stay saved. I can do that. Can you? With you? Yes. They sat in the hospital room, new family forming, old life completely gone. What started as an affair, a secret, a complication, a mistake, had become the catalyst for complete transformation. Ji-hoon's empire was smaller now, legal, legitimate. But it was also real, built on honesty instead of fear. His relationships were fewer but deeper. His purpose was clear. And every day he woke up not as the most feared man in Seoul, but as Ji-young's father. As Amara's partner. As someone who'd chosen family over everything and never regretted it. What are you thinking? Amara asked, watching him watch their daughter. That the result changed everything, just like you said it would. I never said that. You did. With your eyes. The first night we met, you looked at me and saw someone who needed changing. Someone who could be better. And you were, right? I just asked if you were okay. And that question changed my entire life. They sat together in the peaceful hospital room, watching their daughter sleep, building a future nobody could have predicted. The Korean mafia boss who'd had an affair with a black lady. And the result that changed absolutely everything, not just for them, but for everyone who witnessed that transformation and realized, maybe change was always possible. Maybe redemption was always available. Maybe love really could conquer even the darkest
city is
circumstances.
incredible, isn't it?
If you were
Not as
brave enough to
incredible as
choose
you.
it, they
Look at
were,
all those
and that made
lights.
all the difference.
Each one is a story.